Everybody, thanks for checking out the Chris Gethard Show podcast. It's really cool that you're checking this out.
We're about to do, I think, the dumbest show we've done in years.
His life would be trash! And you better believe I'm trashed.
We are scrappy trash people.
What's the point of this show? I just turned it on.
We've always been with this show.
We've always been trash people. We will always be trash people.
It's true.
This doesn't feel real.
Hello, everyone. Live from my grandmother's basement. Welcome to We Are Trash People, the show where we talk about everything related to the world of Planet Scum Live, the fantastic Twitch channel, comedy network, Nouveau Comedy Network. Okay, this is some postmodern shit.
It's your digital comedy venue.
It's your digital comedy venue, okay? We are, yes.
Hi, Premal.
Hi, Premal. Oh, that means howdies, okay?
Howdies.
How-yees. How-yees indeed. I'm Emily Pineapple.
And I'm Forrest, keeper of the Canon.
And today I am so ecstatic. I'm so excited. Hello, Effie Vision.
Effie Vision.
I'm so ecstatic. I'm so excited today. Waza! Because we are talking about like my favorite category of arts. And we are talking to two incredible fan artists and just artists in their own right from our community. Let's welcome to the show Noah with no H.
Hello.
Hi! And their fantastic kitty. Wait, what's the kitty's name?
Ella.
And our dear friend who has joined us before. Yeah, that's right. It's Mary.
Hello.
Hello.
And today we're talking about fiber arts. We're talking about fiber arts. I'm ecstatic. You all probably remember, if you've been around, you'll remember Mary creating a clown suit. You may have been around the Discord and known that Mary works in embroidery, professional machine embroidery, which I'm so excited to get into. And if you've been around Mary's painting party, you may have seen, oh, hey, there's someone who embroiders for Mary's painting party. Wow. That's very clever. Wow, that's super cool. Who could possibly? It's Noah. It's Noah with no H.
Also for Googie Morning.
And also for Googie Morning.
Embroidery.
So I'm especially excited because I have been admiring those embroideries for months. And I'm like, who the fuck is doing that? Who the fuck is doing that? I must know. And then Forrest was like, it's Noah with the no H. And I'm like, Noah's amazing. I love Noah. Aww. And I'm so excited to be talking to both of you about your arts. Let's get started with the question that I love to ask everyone at the beginning. First off, how did you find Planet Scum and or the Gethverse? Mary, why don't you share with us?
Well, Gethverse, I was a big fan of Chris Gethard show. My friend Walt got me into it. He had been a big fan and kept telling me, you're really into all these SNL people like Bobby Moynihan and Edie Bryant. Why aren't you watching this? I'm like, all right. Finally did when I heard that Slater Kinney was a guest. And it was like right before it went to Fusion. Mm-hmm. So I got into it that way. And then I found the Geth Heads Facebook group. And so ever since, and then that is essentially just snowballed into where we are now, basically. So,
yeah. Incredible. And Noah, how did you find the Gethverse / Planet Scum?
So it actually goes back pretty far. When Chris was doing the show at UCB in Manhattan, a friend of mine from college was really into it and took me to see it. So I saw it in its first iteration once or twice. Cool. And then, kind of on and off, followed it on public access. I showed up to a couple of tapings here and there, but I wasn't a diehard fan. When it went to when Sandwich Night came around on the third or fourth year, I was working for a bakery at farmers markets, and I had this huge, enormous bag of leftover bread. And I brought it to Sandwich Night, and so
that sounds familiar.
Noah Bread.
Oh,
you're the Noah Bread.
Oh,
Like, I feel like
Oh
I've
my
heard this.
God! Yes, Sandwich Night, Epivision.
Yeah. Then I started showing up to tapings for it was like Fusion or True TV at the studio, and would hang out with people after the show, and I just kind of got to know it. And then when Sandwich Night came around this year, Planet Scum was in existence, but I wasn't following it, and Mary was on Sandwich Night, and Chris was like, if you like cool, like calming, relaxed shows, I was like, oh my God, this is like all I watch is the Great British Sewing Bee. Like, sign me up. So
I'm sorry,
that's
the
how I
Great
started.
British Sewing Bee?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
I'm writing
show.
that down. I'm writing that down for myself. Please continue.
Yeah, I heard about Mary's show, and I was like, this sounds like so up my alley. And I marathoned it, and I started my hoop, which I have here. I started doing an embroidery for every episode. And then
Oh my gosh. Oh my God, there's a Hey Arnold. There's the grandpa from Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
There's Trogdor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's the Burninator themselves.
I love this so much.
Thank you.
Oh
so great.
my God,
Yeah.
the alien. This is incredible.
Yeah. So then I've been since I've been following Gethard, I knew about I knew about Riley, and I'd actually hung out with Riley a few times, and like
Isn't he
have a piece of
amazing?
his. Yeah, he's incredible, and I like have a piece of his art in my bedroom, one of his space noodles, and so I was like, I have to start watching Googie Morning. How am I not watching this show already? So I started watching Googie Morning, started doing embroidery on the space noodles, and that's where we're at.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely
What a
incredible.
story. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm super excited. I have one more getting to know you question before I go ape shit about fucking fiber arts. I don't know why fiber arts. That'll be my next question. Why fiber arts? But this question is, so I have a belief that is 100% a true fact that exists objectively in the universe, that Chris Gethard is a trickster god who personally chose each of us to be part of his flock. But he is a trickster god. He doesn't just appear and say like, hey, bitch, like you're part of my flock. No. We are instead gifted with inborn qualities. And these qualities tell us for sure that we have been personally chosen by Chris Gethard. Yes, this is based on Calvinist religion, but it's 100% true in this case. So, for example, the love of chaos combined with bouts of summer depression show me that I have been personally chosen by Chris Gethard to join his flock.
Summer depression has also been a common answer
Yes.
as to what the quality is.
Anxiety, like, we can just... There are many things that tell us that we are we have personally been chosen. Mary, what is within you that shows you that you have been personally chosen by Chris Gethard to be part of his flock?
I don't know. I'm a weirdo, anxiety-driven person who's literally had panic attacks all week. So, I mean...
I think that's a great answer.
for no reason. Like, I've been, like, overreacting to everything, and it sucks, and I fucking hate it, but...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shows us. It shows us.
And that's pretty much my answer, too. So.
I can get into it, but really, do we need to? Oh my God, there's another cat.
Another
There's
cat.
a second cat. What's its name?
Second cat.
That's where did you go? That's Violet.
Can't move because Ellie's on her chest.
Violet and Ellie. Ellie's the cutest motherfucking thing. Just like chilling on
Oh,
you.
Ella.
Like, hello.
Ella with an
Ella.
L.
Ella.
Sorry.
Okay, after Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh, cute. Oh my fucking God. Noah. Noah, what within you shows you that you are personally chosen by Chris Gethard to be part of his flock? And we can also ask the same questions of Violet and Ella.
Well, they were chosen because they're so damn cute.
Yes.
I don't know. I think I want to say my kindness. I think it's just
Oh my
like
God,
a really
yes.
it's a really kind group of people, and that's like something that's super important to me about above all else is being kind to people. So I want to say that. Yeah.
I love that. That is such a valid answer that we really haven't gotten yet, and that's such a big part of the Gethard thing. It's that being drawn towards kindness, you know, valuing kindness above much. Show us your cats. That should just be an episode. Just show us your cats, and then we'll have show us your dogs. Friends, it's time to go apeshit about fiber arts.
I wish I had a bumper for going apeshit about fiber arts, but I don't.
I need to know. And this is something that I, as a person who is very into fiber arts, also ask myself. But why? Why fiber arts? What is it about the fiber arts?
This is really the cat episode, not the fiber arts episode. Red herring.
He kicked us off the stream earlier, so if we disappear, it's because this cat sat on something.
I'm just waiting for that to happen again, to be honest. Like, look at that little rump. Look at that little rump.
Look at the rump. Look at the rump. I wish you would look at the camera, you little fool. But tell me, I'm so curious, what has drawn you to fiber arts specifically? And have you been drawn to any other arts previous or after or in sync with that? Curious, Mary, why don't you share?
Well, I've been doing it since I was a kid, on and off. So, I mean, it really chose me, obviously. No. I would, like, sew napkins together to, like, learn when I was a kid. Like, my mom was like, cute. Here, use this. I'm like, all right. And then, but yeah, that's basically, like, I don't know how it chose me, but it's just been ingrained. And I know that, like, I've had family who's been sewing for forever. So, or, like, my grandma used to sew a lot. So, there's that influence, but I wasn't good at sewing machines until like high school. Like
sewing machines are tough.
I was very bad at it.
It's a completely different thing. Like you have to learn how the machine itself works, not just how fabric works.
That, and then like all machines can be different, and they can have different stitch settings. Like the one I have literally right behind my computer right now is just like a basic thing, but it has like 100 different stitch settings. Like you can change the width and like that. Everything like that. But then like the one we have, I do embroidery at work, but I also do this thing called relabeling, and you basically just use an industrial sewing machine, and we use Jukies, and they have this cool thing where you can like you hit the pedal at the bottom a certain way, and it like does its back stitch and front stitch for you automatically. And then trims the thread. So it's like all machines do like slightly different things, and you have to get like used to that too. Like you have to know your basics. That is not the question that you asked me, but
this is so fascinating. This is absolutely part of the question that I'm asking, because that's part of like what's so exciting, I think, about fiber arts is that
what's so exciting? Sorry.
They have so many things. They have so many things in them. It's not just 2D, it's 3D. And you wear it sometimes. Or you can at least touch it and hold it like this, and that's okay. Unlike with paper art, where
you could do that.
You could, but it's frowned upon.
Paper mache. Paper mache has a texture.
Oh, that's true.
Noah. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you about to share something?
Oh, I just wanted to say on the topic of texture, one of the space noodle embroideries that I did.
So cool.
You can't even see the fabric. This is all thread. And so it's a woven stitch of thread. And I can't stop touching it. Like, I feel bad for whoever's going to get this because it's going to have, like, my fingerprints on it.
Then it's going to have their fingerprints all over it. That looks so amazing to touch. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Noah, share with us why fiber arts and how fiber arts.
So really, I only do hand embroidery. That's the only art I do at all.
Nice.
I was never like a super creative, artsy person. I did like sew a t-shirt quilt once in high school, but like that was like the extent of it. But a few years ago, one of my roommates was getting really into fiber arts and was trying a little bit of everything out. And they ended up settling on weaving and got a loom. Ooh. But while they were trying out embroidery, which they still do sometimes, I was like, hey, can I borrow some of your supplies and like try it out and see if I like it? And I knew like it was kind of innate, the like basics of it, just from like doing hand sewing as a kid. Like I did like the elementary school sewing club, and so I knew like a couple of stitches. But yeah, I did my first embroidery and I was like, I can't stop. I love this. It was just like so I've been on and off with it. Recently I've been doing it like almost every day.
Nice.
But yeah, it's really only embroidery, and it was one of those things where it was like, I tried it and I was like, I actually think I can take what I have in my head and like make it real. And like I didn't feel that way about like art in general. I was always like, oh, if I have an idea, like I don't feel like I can draw or paint or anything like that. But for some reason with embroidery, I'm like, I feel like I can like create what I think about.
It reminds me of, here, I'll show off some of my embroideries, because I got really super into embroidery for a while, and I did it so much in conjunction with working a computer job that my hands got completely messed up. But it reminds me a bit of handwriting. Like if you have like a poem or something and you handwrite it out versus typing, it's just like that extra minute of like having to translate it onto paper. Oh, really? You're just going to lie on my embroidery. That's what's up. He's like kneading it. I'm like, like some Star Wars bullshit.
Nice.
Oh, Effie Vision's saying that was a great color combination on the bat hoop.
Oh, thank you. This is like, I went to Joann's and just got all like the cheap scraps of fabric, and I'm like, bats. Ha! We're batshit insane. That was just like me practicing lettering. But tell me. So let's do a show and tell. It's show and tell time. Yeah, these are my tie-dye.
You should show your Murph.
Oh, my Murph. So my Murph is the last embroidery that I actually worked on, because it can be, oh, really? Now you're going to try and knock over some, yeah, there's actually liquid in this.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Wow.
He's the new...
He's the rotten Ronnie.
Oh my God. So cute. Oh my God.
This is my Murph. This is the last thing that I was working on. You can see it's not entirely done, as that is not how his mouth looks most of the time. But I want to do show and tell time.
Yeah.
I want to do show and tell of your arts and how you made them. Mine are all I was holding them, which is a poor choice. If you're going to do a lot of hand embroidery, get a stand. Noah, I know you have a stand. Let's do some show and tell. Mary, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I have a few things. I guess I'm sure most people that are watching this have already seen the con jumpsuit that I made.
Fuck yeah!
I'm not putting it on. If you've seen it, you've seen it. If not, it's on the internet.
So you made it from scratch. You like cut out patterns and then sewed them together.
So yes. So I found there's a website that also like sells a lot of like great fabric, where I actually got the fabric from, called Mood Fabrics, and they also have a Mood Society, like SEW Society, and they have free patterns available that you can print out, cut, tape together, and then cut out the pattern. So what I did with this is, what I always do is I always like write a step by step, because when you buy a pattern, it's going to have step-by-step directions. So that's what I learned from. So I went through, I'm like, okay, these are all the things I need to do. This is probably the best order to do it. And then any alterations that I needed to do, because now at this point I'm familiar enough with sewing that I know how to like do any kind of like changes to the pattern or whatever, and I know how like to like do this or that with it. And so I like changed it from like, instead of like a boot cut or something, I think it was like a big boot cut pant, and I changed it to like a slender kind of cut. I added like the zipper in the front, little things here and there, like the pockets and everything, the stripe on the side. They didn't have a lot of this stuff, so I had to go through and do lots of measurements and adding and subtracting and all this mathematical crap that you wouldn't think would come into play, but definitely comes into play with sewing. And went from there and made it in like nonstop 3 days after work, exhausted.
I love it. I love it. Oh my God. There's no better feeling than like hyper focus to completion.
Oh yeah. I wanted to make sure I had it ready for Halloween because it was literally that Wednesday, I think, that I finished it. And then I took the photos like immediately and I recreated some things and yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Incredible. I love it. Let's go back and forth. And we're going to show and tell a thing. Noah, show and tell.
Oh, okay. Are we doing show and tell of the physical objects that I have right now? Okay.
Yes.
All right, let me see what I've got. Well, so I have a lot of Uggs or Ughs, depending on how you pronounce. So I have like lots of these.
Fuck! Wait! Hold up the Ugg with the gradient. How did you do the gradient? Did you sew a thing on?
It's different. Also, I have a
thread painted it.
Yeah, thread painting. Yeah.
That's so hard to do.
It's called long and short stitch. And then like this one is French knots.
Oh.
Yeah. So lots of those. And I do. Here's one I did this week. I do this thing called Bird Identification Tuesday, BIT, because it's a fun bit.
I love that.
And I have a pal who is a bird watcher in her spare time, and so I embroider a bird and make her guess what bird it is. So this is the one I did for this Tuesday.
Oh my gosh, that's
so
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
That
it's
is
so
an
pretty.
indigo bunting.
Do you freehand everything, or do you use a light box, or how do you transfer the pattern?
So it varies project to project. So one of the projects that I have animated that we'll probably show was completely freehand, which I'm really proud of. With something like the bird, I'll use a fabric heat erase marker.
Nice.
Or pen rather, and I'll like sketch out an outline and like some important parts that I want to do, and then I'll just be looking at the image on my phone or the computer and just like be translating that into thread. And yeah, the most stuff I'll do like an outline or something basic with the heat erase pen on it first, but sometimes I just go freehand.
I love that. When I figured out that like the friction pens or whatever,
Yep.
they're like erasable pens, all you have to do is iron it or put up a blow dryer and it'll
Hair dryer.
disappear. Yeah.
Yep.
That's so
It's
cool.
so cool. I know that for this one I used a fabric like transfer paper. I printed it out actually, this particular design on the paper. You iron it on to the fabric, and then if I were to put this underwater, this would all just kind of dissolve. But Mary, show and tell.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I did so many.
No, that's totally fine.
Who cares?
We have so much to show.
I guess, all right. So when I was in college, I took a quilting course. So I went to School for Fashion Merchandising, and they had a quilting course as like an elective or whatever. And my internship was actually at a quilt shop too. So I have a few of the quilts and quilt toppers that I made. So one is a completed quilt, and then two are quilt toppers, which means they are part of the quilt, but they don't have the insulation or the back of it or like the binding on it. So like it's just the main like front part. So the first one is one made with applique. So well, part of it is applique. So like this part here, it's like iron-on transfer. So you cut it, you use graph paper, you draw out like a pattern, and then you cut it out, and then you cut out the transfer that's underneath it that would be ironed on, You iron it on all together onto the fabric, and then you like sew around it with like a really close zigzag stitch. That kind of, I don't know how well this is going to come out, but you kind of see how that is.
Yes, the blue. And did you do the crisscross stitch? It's a TARDIS.
And this is all with the machine. This isn't like I'm cutting out is by hand, but that's about it.
Interesting.
So this is like a table runner. This is just the topper. My big one, I don't know if I want to stand up because I won't be able to hear anything, but this is part of it. This is like a quarter of it.
Wow.
But this is a quilt topper.
Mary, that is gorgeous.
I love it so
Yeah.
much. This is during my 1 month rockabilly phase, so that's what the color choice is there.
Fuck yes.
And then my favorite one, which is actually a quilt, is this, which sits behind my chair all the time. So
That is gorgeous.
and so what they do to get like the a lot of times with quilts you'll get like a texture that's like a kind of a bumpy texture. They'll get that by they'll use like a clear thread on the machine for the top stitch, and then for the bobbin, which is the thread that goes underneath that like locks the stitches together, will be like the color of like mine is just this back or this blue color. So then I have the bobbin match this. So yeah. So and then what you do is so often you'll make like weird patterns like in. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but this is what they had us do, and you did like just funky pattern, kind of tracing around like whatever like freehand with flowers, and then I went around like each of these squares, and so then it comes through. You're not gonna be able to tell, but it comes through on the back here. So
you're gonna get the texture of like a 3D texture of the shape of the flowers.
Yeah. And
That
it's
are in the
interesting.
pattern.
We were bringing up texture earlier, and I want to point out like that's like the number one thing they say that when you're going to shop, one of the things that they taught us in school is like that's the number one thing that you, because like people order online all the time, but the number one thing and the reason why people like to shop in person is because they like the texture of things.
Yep.
And that's one of the things, like you were saying, with fiber arts you're gonna get. So anyway.
That's awesome. Is there something in particular like about quilts versus clothing? Do you have a preference for either? Is there something that you like prefer when you're sitting by yourself and you're like, yes, next project, quilt? Or
So
like, yes.
every time I plan a quilt, I never do it. I have, before even Community was renewed for a 6th season, I was half done starting like planning stages for a quilt. Like it's completely planned out. It's just like I have a few squares already made for a quilt based on the show Community.
Nice.
Never finished it. I have 2 ideas that I came up with for like one was for like half done Googie. Like it's just a thing that I just like to do to like keep my hand busy. Is I'll draw out and like come up like with graphs and everything, like the measurements and everything. So I made one for I almost have drawn one for Googie Morning, but not really. I don't know how I would do it, but I prefer sewing clothing because it's, even though like it may seem like it's not as much of a time commitment, it usually isn't. You just saw the detail work for that one quilt.
Yeah.
That was just for like all 3 of those were for one semester of a class. Wow. So like they take like a long time, and these are like hour-long classes. So like hours-long classes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's
but clothing
awesome.
can be intense too. But I feel like in my experience, they've been more intense as quilts, and I tend to get more fun out of the clothing because even when I fail with the clothing, you can alter it and try to do something else with it. So, or give it to someone else.
I love that. That's why I liked always working kind of smaller because I felt like I could finish it more. Noah, you mentioned earlier that you are really good at finishing things.
With embroidery, once I get the idea of like what I want a piece to look like, I already want it to be done. Like, I like the process. I enjoy the process. But I'm already like, why isn't this finished? Why can't I see it? I want it to be happening. I want it to be here in front of me and show all my friends and put it on the internet. And so for me, like doing small hoops that I can knock out in a day or two is like really good for me, because if I have to take as much time as Mary takes to do those quilts, I don't think I would finish them. I think I would be like a perpetual starter and never finisher. But because I work with something that's like so easy to like, if you commit to it, to like just like go through and do it. Like I've had a few projects that stalled that I ended up not finishing. But for the most part, like once I get that idea, I'm like, I need to see it. Like it must happen. It must be finished and done.
That is incredible. Yeah. That's like the type of single-mindedness that it's hard to find. It's hard to find like a medium that engenders that. And is that the right word?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, in a person. Like, for example, starting quilts but not finishing them, but always finishing clothing, it's oh my gosh, I'm astounded. Let's do a show and tell. Let's do a show and tell of one of your animations. Ooh. Noah, friends, you have no idea what you are about to see. Yeah. You have no fucking idea what you are about to experience. You do not have any fucking idea.
Here's the first one. This is so cool. And it's mind-blowing to me seeing an embroidery animation.
Wait, do the second one. Do the next one.
I'm going to do this one more time, and then I'll move on to the second one. Okay, so this is the second one.
Ow!
Which is so good.
So
are these bands?
Freehand.
Are these
all? Yeah.
Wow.
I think most of these have played Gethard Show, maybe? I feel like...
I don't know. These are
no, if you have. Sorry.
all of my entire wardrobe is band T-shirts. I have over 50 band T-shirts. So this is just like a selection of like 7 of my favorite band T-shirts. And that I was really, really proud to do that all freehand because I didn't have a way that I liked transferring patterns to dark fabric yet. I'm still experimenting with that. And so I sketched them out in pencil in a sketchbook, and I was like, I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to try to just reference the drawings and freehand stitch it. And when it took me, I don't know, a couple days to do, and I was just like so proud to be able to do that.
It is absolutely astounding that you did this all freehand, because that is those are complicated shapes that you are doing so well. And like numbering and wording is so hard to get like the curves right in embroidery. Holy crap. But tell me, when you made this, did you make different shirts? Did you undo the things and then do the things? Are these like 5 different like shirt outlines with a thing inside of it? Tell me.
It's one shirt outline, and then I completely ripped out all of the stitches each time. So none of these exist anymore. They only exist in this image. They don't exist physically anymore. I do pretty much for all of my animations so far. I've considered doing them in different. Doing each frame separately, but like the gymnast that you saw it's with the gymnast and that's by the way, if you're into gymnastics, that's Grace Glenn doing her perfect 10 routine from last year on balance beam.
Fuck yeah.
For UCLA.
Fuck yeah, UCLA.
But yeah, like that I would stitch each shape. That one I actually held the fabric up to my computer screen, and I would play the video and pause it and then trace with one of those heat erase pens the outline of her body, stitch it, take the picture, rip it all out, and then hold the fabric up again, redraw the next position, stitch it, take it out, and that was about 15 frames of that. Wow. So the balance beam is the same all the way through, and then you see each frame is stitched separately on top of that.
Oh my God. It's like a William Kettridge art.
Oh, yeah.
He's like this South African artist who would draw big charcoal drawings and then erase them or kind of blot them out and do the next frame and do animations that way. So there was like this weird like charcoal like path of where people had been. This is incredible. Wait, let's play the other one.
We have one more. God.
Stop motion.
So good. I love the hammer.
Oh, it's already cute. What the heck?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
yeah.
Tell me all about this one.
Yeah, if there are any queer crafters in the chat, you can go to that website, queercrafters.com. It is a message board forum that I started, and it is very quiet right now. It hasn't gotten off the ground yet, but you know, we've got some people introducing themselves and saying hi. But yeah, I'm trying. I'm really big on creating community, so I'm trying to. I was like looking for a space that was like a place where people could just like chat and share projects within the queer and trans community.
Yeah.
For crafting, and I couldn't find it, so I was like, I might as well make it. So we'll see if it goes anywhere, but anyone is welcome to join if you identify as queer, trans, or LGBTQ and a crafter.
That is so
incredible.
awesome. Tell me about the types of, like, tell me about that. Tell me about the website. Tell me about your blog. Tell me about, like, what's going on there. And creating communities and, like, your experience with that.
Yeah, it's been like a really slow start, to be honest, but I'm trying to like give it some time to grow and hope that people will catch on to it. I really like bringing people together. Before COVID, I had started like it was almost like a series of picnics. Effie Vision in the chat has been to one or two of them.
Classic cozy online forum. Fucking love it.
But yeah, I would like have picnics and like birthday parties where I would bring all my friends together and try to like introduce people to each other who I think would get along. And so I just really like bringing, like, I feel like I love my friends so much, and I just, like, have a very disparate group of friends, so I always want to, like, introduce good people to each other. So that was, like, what this came out of. Like, I've done some weird stuff, like, in quarantine, I was playing a lot of Animal Crossing at the beginning, nice. And I started... I made my house into a little cafe theme, and then I used the because pre-quarantine I was a barista, and
nice.
So I was I went on the dating app Lex and advertised for people to get matched up to go on dates on my Animal Crossing island.
What?
That's
oh my
cute.
God!
I love that.
What? That's so brilliant! Holy fuck! I want to go on a date in Animal Crossing. Let's go on a date at the Animal Crossing cafe.
We will have to get a Switch first.
We're gonna have to get a Switch so we can go on a date in the Animal Crossing cafe. That's a reason for me to want to go on to get a Switch.
It's wonderful.
Right though?
Vision was agreeing that it was adorable.
Oh my
I love that idea so much.
I love digital landscape, like digital architecture stuff, like the way that the world has been changing and the new ways that people are able to connect and share. Like, I want that to last forever. Like, I would have never met either of you.
True.
How? How could I? How could I? We are in San Francisco, in my grandmother's basement. We usually do not leave the basement even before quarantine.
I definitely would not have met you then.
We're just like, wow, bars are getting really expensive. Let's just stay home. Wow, driving all the way to Oakland, where all of our friends live, is a lot, and where actual affordable drinks are. Used to be. Oh, Bay Area. That is so sweet and so awesome. I want to know about Mary. Have you shown us all of your projects? You said you were grabbing some work in progresses. Show us, show and tell.
So I'm working on 3 things right now. I have a dress that I'm working on for myself. That's like pink with black polka dots, and then I'm working on a dress for my friend that's black with red hearts. because she saw this dress that she liked one time, and I'm like, if we ever can find this fabric, because you'd be surprised about how hard it is to find black with red heart fabric. Anyway, Spoonflower, baby. You can get literally anything you want printed on it. But
Spoonflower, is this a website?
This is a website where people can upload their patterns, and then you can get your fabric printed. I had said something in the chat for Googie Morning last weekend where I'm like, you need to do this. And I think I said it when I like emailed him or something.
Oh my
like,
God, for the space noodles!
Yeah, I would make clothes out of that in an instant. Anyway, so I'm making a dress for that. And then I'm also, never done this before, but I'm making a coat. And so I'm going to show you the fabric for it. I haven't done any of the cutting out for it. I haven't done any of the pinning of the pattern to it yet. Because I was worried about, I was pinning, I like to do process, and I did that for the other two first. But, oh wait, here's the fabric for, it's already pinned for the pink dress. It's like pink with black polka dot. I found this fabric on Etsy. I can't get. I'm not going to open this because I'll have to take the pattern off.
Yeah, that's super fair.
This is what I was talking about. The cat was rubbing his face on and like chewing it earlier. It's like this. So I found the same place I found the pattern for the Klon jumpsuit, or the jumpsuit I ended up using to alter to make the Klon, had a coat pattern. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. Huh. So this is the lining color. This pink color. You can't really get it. The lighting in here isn't great, so you can't really get it's like a coral pink kind of a situation.
It looks satiny.
It kind of is, yeah. But enough that it's like made for like a coat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to make the lapels or whatever be this like faux fur purple. You can't see the lavender that well, but it's lavender. You can kind of
fuzzy. It's like Nightcrawler level fuzzy.
Yes, but it's not so fuzzy that it's like, obnoxious. But I mean, it's already going to be obnoxious. It's purple and with a pink lining. Anyway, this is the coat fabric, and it's. Let me get this closer so you can see the texture of it. Kind of like a not a herringbone, but yeah. And then so. I also I'm also figuring out how to add insulation to it, even though the pattern didn't call for that. Mm-hmm. So I bought this, it's not super thick insulation, but I bought this insulation. So it goes inside between the outer fabric and the lining. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be that. And then I don't think I have my heart fabric over here, where it's buried underneath all the quilts. So we won't get to that, but
yeah. I'm so curious when you make something from a pattern. So I decided one day, I think I was in high school or college, and I was like, I need a round hoop skirt, and I need it to be out of this particular fabric that I just found. It was like this satin peach, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to fucking sew. Yeah. And I couldn't figure out the fucking pattern. I do not have the patience to cut out a pattern and then pin it all together and cut it. So tell me about the process of creating an item of clothing.
So when you get the pattern, you cut out the pattern, but there's going to be little symbols and notches for what exactly you're going to do. Most of the time, hopefully, you're going to also have directions that tell you what's going to go with what. But you'll get a lot of notches where it'll be a triangle and then a triangle, and that's where they go. And then there'll be another section where there's two triangles and two triangles, and they'll be opposite. That's where you join them together. So that's your simple basic hey, these two parts meet together. That's the basic
it's sort
simple.
Of folding paper, right? Mm-hmm. Is that how people learn how to because they'll did you have to make clothes out of paper at any point in your learning process?
I don't think so.
Did anyone make you do that?
No. There is I gotta figure out the name of this person. Not to get too sidetracked, but I listened to a podcast called Dressed Podcast, and it's a history of fashion podcast, and they had somebody come on.
I love that one.
It's so good. Did you see the one about there's an artist who makes historical fashion out of paper, but she recasts them with African American women and men. I think it's just women. I don't remember. I haven't fully looked into it yet, but and kind of reclaims that time period. Essentially, I wish I knew. They just had this podcast. I'll just look it up, but it's really fucking cool, man. Yeah.
Because it's Dressed. Dressed is the podcast. It's from the How Stuff Works Network, and I highly, highly recommend it. The hosts are incredible. The research is really good, and it's very fun. It's very fun and interesting.
And they're legitimate, like actual historical costume, like, you know.
And they talk about like restoring fabrics and shit in like museums and like how to keep clothes like alive for people to see them alive. Like alive.
They had the history of pockets recently, and I posted it in the plugs thread. I don't know if anybody saw that, but I thought maybe people would find it interesting. But
oh my fucking god! Because there were no pockets, right? Were there pockets?
So I don't remember the exact history of it, but that's like basically the reason we have purses and the reason we have pockets are because of the other. I just don't remember which chicken or egg situation it is, but offhand, because I'm really bad at remembering these kinds of things. You'd think I'd remember, seeing as I've literally been tested on this before. Here we are.
I couldn't tell you a damn thing that I got tested on.
I forgot a lot of the answers to my film tests.
I'm still looking up middle school science, like just to be like, wait, am I sure that this is how things work? No, I'm usually wrong.
Fabiola Jean-Louise, I'm not sure how to say that last name, but that's the it's a New York-based photographer who's also a paper artist and designer. I'm gonna send in the thing her Instagram account.
Yes, please. And I think we found them.
Amazing. But she makes all this stuff out of paper, like her dresses, and they're fucking phenomenal. Anyway.
There we go. It's a paper.
Paper.
Isn't that incredible? Oh, I fucking love that. That's incredible.
But she'll take photos and like recreate history with those time periods, or like, you know, most of the time we only ever saw like people in these photos. They're just, you know, like with our white people, and so she would recreate it and be like, no, we were around this time too. I'm not really giving it justice. I'm doing it justice. I can't speak to this that well, so I apologize. But I would recommend looking into her, even listening to the episode of the podcast, because they interviewed her and it was really great. So a couple weeks ago. This is recently.
All incredible.
Yeah, but no, I did not make anything with paper.
Oh yeah, and you can
napkins, but you know.
Oh, but this is her painting.
Oh, sick!
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
Which is just so cool.
Yeah.
I am astounded. I'm absolutely astounded. Noah, what is your dream for what would it be done with your pieces? Do you mostly create them to like hang on the wall or to be like buttons?
Yeah, I pretty much put all of my pieces in hoops. There's one that I did that I think you guys have of the UGG that is in a billboard frame. So that was a piece that was part of like a project for an organization that I volunteer for. But other than that, I just like I mount everything in these wooden hoops, and I just want them to go hang on the wall in people's homes.
They're so wonderful. It's such a great piece of art. Like what in particular, what in your estimation, like when you see a wall of art and there's like paper art and then there's like something in a fucking hoop, like what's the feeling?
I mean, I have like certain feelings about like crafts, like like I feel like people there's like definitely a lot of people who have like written about it and talked about how like crafting is seen as like not like a fine art, and like primarily because it was historically done by women. So but the thing is, for me, is like I don't really feel like I'm doing any sort of high art. I feel like I'm crafting, and so that like to be like a crafter, I feel like is more, it fits me more than being like an artist. But yeah, it's just like the hoop is just another form of frame, and I think it suits because it's because you do the embroidery in the hoop, like I do my embroideries in a larger plastic hoop just for ease, and then I mount them in the smaller wooden hoops. But like theoretically, it's the equipment that you use to make it is on display, and I just find that like very nice and craftsy. Like it's very down to earth. I like that it's down to earth.
I'm curious what you mean by you're like, there's a difference between feeling like an artist or like a fine artist, like something that is carried with that title versus what is carried with the title of crafting. What do you feel like is carried with fine artist or skilled crafts, like skilled work or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not quite so sure. I know that like, I mean, one of my roommates is an artist and like went to art school and everything, and he's just like so talented and knowledgeable, and I'm like, I could never do that stuff. And I just feel like there's a lot of people who like go into their art with these like amazing, wonderful ideas and like motivations, and I mean, I just like to put lyrics that I like in a hoop and maybe do a little doodle on it. So there's not really like, I feel like maybe someday I'll have like higher aspirations of kind of doing more like meaningful art. But for now, I just kind of want to do stuff that just like I like, and I want to see it and it's fun. And so that like, I kind of like that like crafting feel of just like, it's more of like, you just kind of make things to make them.
I like that. I really like that as sort of a distinction, and it's something between conceptual art, which I didn't go to art school either, but I really wanted to. And now I guess I'm sort of glad that I didn't, but I learned recently about the idea of conceptual artists, where you literally just write down what the art would be. And it's things like sculptures, like beach sculptures, and you write down like how it would look, and so people in all different countries can make them. And then there's art that's just like, this feels good for my hands and my brain. Like, I want to do the thing and it brings comfort to my soul. And I think it's so interesting how there's this dynamic between like high art and low art and different motivations for the art that we creating a distinction between them. And I wonder if that's just capitalism. Now that I talk about it, I'm like, why does one need the title of artist? And I'm like, oh, so that they can sell their fucking art, so that they can eat. Why do they need to do that to eat? Because capitalism murders all things, including people's desires to just make a thing that makes them happy, to make a physical object that makes their hands and their heart happy and joyful as they make it, and hold it up and be like, I couldn't sell this, you know, but it makes me happy. And it's so strange that we live in a society that like sort of tries to cordon people off. How do you feel having gone to fashion merchandising school, which is a lot more about the actual creation of the things than one would think? It's not like advertising school, which is something I learned. But tell me about like how was that for you? What is your conception of art and the art that you create given that background?
That's a good question. I haven't really thought about that. Well, I don't know how to answer that. I'm sorry. I'm stumbling over my thoughts right now.
Absolutely fine. It's a big question. It's like, how do you feel about art and capitalism?
Well, the irony of going to school for fashion merchandising and being like, capitalism. It's weird because like when I went to school for fashion merchandising, first of all, I didn't originally go to school for that. I started off in something completely different. So I like switched like halfway through. And ironically, they do not offer that major at the school I went to anymore. But it's merchandising. I'm more so cared about like the creation than I cared about the actual marketing and merchandising. It's just that's what they offered, and I didn't feel like transferring, if I'm being honest. And I got very lucky though, because most programs, they're not going to have the, like I've heard like the rival school to ours that focus more on the design work. When they also had a fashion merchandising thing, but they focused more on the advertising and merchandising stuff. And while I had a little bit of an advertising background, people thought it was odd that we were actually learning. Like I took construction and tailoring, advanced construction and tailoring, and quilting. And only one of those you needed to take was the irregular construction and tailoring class, but they wanted you to know like how it's made, what's going into it. You wanted to get the feel of it, even if you're not great at it. They wanted you to at least understand it. And for me, I preferred the understanding of it to the actual marketing of it, which is also kind of ironic, seeing as I work in a bulk production embroidery house and screen printing place. But I don't know. It's really hard to answer that question. Like I prefer the process other than the final product more than the selling of it. I don't know. I've tried selling lots of things, and it doesn't always. You can have like some of the nicest art, but it's not necessarily going to always sell because not always going to speak to everybody. But anyway, I don't know. Capitalism sucks. That's all I know.
I think that was a really interesting answer, though. I think that thinking for like the types of things that we feel forced to do, like the majors that we have to take, the money that we shell out for courses of study to find a thing that we love, when really we just love the process. We love making things. I think that so many humans make things. That's part of being a human. That's like, we are apes that make things. That's why we survived. Like, that's the part of the humanness. It is, though.
I'm not disagreeing.
We're like beavers, except we make more than just one thing. And
I didn't expect you to dunk on beavers like that.
Sometimes you just gotta dunk on a beaver. I'm not gonna finish that. I'm so sorry.
It's totally okay. We are at the end of our show.
Yes.
I want to thank you both so much for joining us, for showing off your art, for sharing about your experiences, your growth, the things that you love doing. You are absolutely incredible, and I am so excited to speak to you again and to see all of the beautiful things that you create. Everyone should tune into Marin's painting party to see Noah's incredible embroidery, and tune into. Tell me, let's do plugs. I want to hear your plugs. Where can people find your shit? Where should they check it out? And then it's off to the Discord. Share with us.
Which one of us do you want to go?
Oh, that is a good point. Noah, share with us your plugs.
So you can find me at embroiderugh or at embroiderugh, however you would like to pronounce it. It's the word embroider, UGH. And that is me on all of the platforms. I think I'm primarily on Instagram. I have an Etsy if you want to buy a hoop, and I do commissions, so just message me. I'll make something for you. If you can dream it, I'll stitch it. I'll see you on Mary's painting party in the comments. I'll see you on Googie Morning this week for the art toilet. So
me too.
Woo! Oh, I'm so excited for Art Toilet. Where can people find you, Mary?
I'm mostly on Instagram, Evil Science 13, all one word, on Instagram. I have an art Tumblr that I barely updated. It's mostly from when I was doing more drawing and flyers and stuff for shows, but Mary Kekic at marykekik.tumblr.com, MaryKekic. And then that's the same name if you were going to look up music stuff, but that's not fiber content.
There's so much. The art well goes so deep.
There's so much art that I don't even know what I'm doing on Googie Morning yet, to be honest with you.
Oh my God. I'm so excited. Everyone, check out Googie Morning. Check out our friends. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, thank you, everyone who joined us in the comments. And we'll see you all on the Discord and or at Planet Scum Live tonight.
Wow. At Late Night with Judge Millie tonight.
At Late Night with Judge Millie. Fuck, I
love
forgot. I
Judge Millie.
love Judge Millie. Holy fuck, Judge Millie. And they're doing calls this week.
I missed
So
that
you
part.
have to check it out. Yeah, there's gonna be calls.
I forgot.
There's gonna be fucking
Geth
calls.
teased it last week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On Planet Scum Live.
There's gonna be fucking calls.
I've been missing some of those, unfortunately.
It's gonna be amazing. We'll see you all there.
See you
Thank you
there.
so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank
of
you.
course. And a good night and good clawn.
Good nights and good clown.